Hey everyone, today I want to talk about my most played game of all time. It's going to be TFT, and I'm going to walk you through how to play as a beginner, no matter if you are just starting out, never played any type of auto battler before, or maybe you played some other ones and you want to try out the best one in the genre. Well, this is going to be the video for you because I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to get started and walk you through an entire game and tell you what your game plan should be at certain points in the game, what you should be looking out for, and also give you a lot of helpful resources to further your knowledge after the video. So first off, why should you even listen to me? Well, I've been making TFT videos pretty much since the start of the game. I'm one of the longest tenured content creators, and my player run tier list is the longest standing one out of everyone's. And it sounds crazy when I say it, but I've actually helped over millions of people according to my analytics in TFT. And unlike most of like 99% of the content creators in TFT, they focus a lot more on advanced players. I am one of the only ones that focuses on beginner players. So in this video, you should expect like very clear speaking terms, no in-game jargon that everyone uses, so this should be understandable by nearly everyone. I might teach you some of the lingo, but I'm not going to use it as my dominant way of speaking. But let's start out in the client. So you want to click TFT. It's in the League of Legends client or like the Riot Games client. Click on Click Play, and then you could click Find Match, but there are a couple of different game modes you could choose: Normal, Rank, Double Up, and Talker's Trial. Double Up's kind of like a nice little 2v2v2 mode. But we're going to just focus on Talker's Trials first. Talker's Trials is a PvE mode, or like player versus monster. So you don't need to worry about feeling pressured and like worrying about what your opponents are doing and keeping pace of the game and like worried about a timer. All you have to do is focus on yourself, and it's a great place to learn a lot about the game before you actually play. It's kind of like a tutorial mode, but it also is like a fun little challenge if you are into that. One important thing I want to note before we get into this though is that there are some subtle differences between this game mode and the main one, and I'll cover all those right now. But essentially in TFT, what you want to do is field units and try to beat the opposing team. So you have some champions in the bottom thing here. This is called your shop. So you could buy Kog'Maw, Jarvan, Rumble, Caitlyn, and Kiana. And these little things right next to them are their traits. So each unit belongs to certain factions or origins, and they also have a class. So Kog'Maw is a Void, Arcanist, and a Longshot. And when you hover over him, you see his ability. It's called Caustic Spittle. Deal 140 magic damage to target and reduce their armor and magic resistance by 8. Adjacent enemies are dealt 50% of the damage and effect. So you could go ahead and buy him by clicking on him. You could like drag up or just do like a single left click. And then you could kind of place him on your board wherever you want, or place him on your bench. And if you ever want to figure out what he does, you could right click him and he'll pop up on the right side here. You could look at his ability again. You could see what his range is. You could also see all his stats. So like 500 health, 30 mana, 2 mana regen per second, attack damage, and all those other random stats that usually come with the game here. So my favorite thing about this little panel though is hovering over this little thing, Magic Caster. It's kind of like a quick little guide on how to itemize each of the units. And we'll talk about items in just a second. Let's go ahead and press fight here. Kog'Maw should be able to finish off this team. Normally the fights start automatically after a timer happens because you're playing against other players, but in this little training mode or whatever, you can press fight whenever you are ready, so you are able to kind of take your time and get used to everything that's going on. So orbs drop from these little minions, and we could just go ahead and click fight again, and because of that, you get bonuses. So we got this little giant's belt here, and we also got a little bit of gold. I'm going to buy the second copy of Kog'Maw because if you played any other auto battler before, you'd know that when you get a lot of the same units, that's actually a good thing, because essentially TFT and auto battlers in general, they're essentially like card games in disguise, and because of that, you want pairs. So in this case, we have Kog'Maw. We got 2 of them, right? So we have like a pair of Kog'Maws. But you also want to get 3 of them to get them upgraded. You could think of their classes and origins kind of as suits. If you get multiple of them, you get little bonuses. So if we right click on Kog'Maw, hover over Void, you can see that Void units have some crazy stuff going on. So you gain mutations that only Void champions can use, and Void champions gain attack speed. So we see a Cho'Gath in our shop here. He's a Void and Juggernaut. We could go ahead and slot him in. And you'll see on the left-hand side, we have this little thing active now. Like before, nothing there, and then now we drop in this Cho'Gath. We have this little Void activated. So we gained one of the mutations. It's in this order: Adrenaline Module, Iron Carapace, and then Leeching Nucleus. And you get more mutations as you go deeper and deeper into the Void trait by playing more and more Void units. So that's pretty cool. We got this little Adrenaline module, gain 15% damage amp, and it increases by 1% after every 3 attacks. So it even shows recommended users, Belveth, Kaisa, and that's it. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those units, so we could just put it on Kog'Maw for now. Like, you don't always have to use recommended because we don't have them yet. In case you were wondering, we could see that Belveth and Kaisa are down here. They're going to be unlocked a little bit later in the game. If you haven't noticed yet, there are different color borders around each of the units. These show how rare they are and what they cost. So you see Kog'Maw here, he's a gray unit, and he's a 1-cost unit. He's the cheapest ones. Viego and Shen and Sona in the shop are also 1-cost units. But then after that, we have Teemo at 2 cost. Cho'Gath was also a 2 cost. Same with Rek'Sai over here, and then Malzahar is 3, Belveth is 4, and then Baron Nashor, well, he's going to be a 7-cost unit, but we'll get more into him later. Typically, there are 5-cost units at that cost level. So if we hover over Arcanist, we could see Annie in the yellow thing. She's going to cost 5 gold. Now, you may be wondering, what are these lock icons next to these heroes? So essentially, every set of TFT, there's like a new little mechanic. Some people call them gimmicks or theme or whatever you want to call it. And essentially, this set 16, the mechanic is going to be unlockable champions. So in order to unlock a champion, you have to meet certain criteria, and it's shown right here. So Kaisa is a attack caster, assimilator, void, and longshot. And to unlock her, you need level 8, and you need to have a longshot unit with 3 items equipped. So you could do it on, for example, Kog'Maw, because he's a longshot. But you could do it on any longshot. You could do it on Caitlyn. You could do it on Teemo, Vayne, Ziggs even, right? So that's how you unlock her. Rift Herald is have Void active for 8 combats. So you just play Void 8 times, and then you get Rift Herald unlocked. And then lastly, we have Baron Nashor, field 7 unique Void units. So pretty much play all the Void units, and then you can get Baron Nashor, which is an incredibly powerful unit. If you ever reach there, let me know down in the comments or in Discord, since it might be a little bit later after I post this video, because it's not that easy to get, but it is gettable. One little helpful thing you can use to kind of keep track of what units you want, like let's say you do want to go for this Baron Nashor, where you have to field 7 unique Void units. You might be wondering like, oh, how do I keep track of what units I want to buy? There's this little team planner up here. You could click that, click new, and then you can click on all the units you want to get. I have them memorized already, but you could always just look here. You could see like, oh, 1 cost is Kog'Maw, 2 cost is Cho'Gath and Rek'Sai, 3 cost is Malzahar, and so on and so forth. Just to get all these units into your team planner. So we have Belveth, Kaisa, Rift Herald, and then lastly, Baron Nashor. So once we have all that nice and settled, we can see that these units will be highlighted in our future shops. So that's a very useful tool to use. You also see the unlock conditions very nicely over here for units you put in your team planner, and it's just one of those quality of life things that makes the game a lot easier. Oh, one thing we could do in this game, we could buy this Teemo, play longshot, so we could have 2 Void, 2 longshot, not bad. But with items before, we could see if we hover over this magic caster thing that there are some recommended items that we could build, and they show what components they're made out of. Because we see on the left-hand side, we have a belt, Negatron, and rod. And making items with these can be very confusing. You kind of just have to memorize everything, but luckily if you hover over this little magic caster thing, you see that there are a lot of item recipes that you could build. So the first item you see, the blue thing, it's called Blue Buff. You build it with 2 tiers. The next one's Adaptive Helm, Negatron plus tier, and then a bunch of other recommended stuff there. Same thing for Cho'Gath. He's a magic tank, so you see some recommended items for him. And then we also have Teemo, Magic Caster, a bunch of recommended items for him as well. So we could actually build one of these recommended items for Cho'Gath. You see the thing all the way on the top right, Ionic Spark. It builds from Rod and Negatron. I'm going to go ahead and build that right now and then start the fight. You build items by dragging them onto units, or you could do it through a right-clicking method. You could right-click and it'll show you each of the items that each component can build, which is super duper duper helpful. I'll show you once we get another item. There's kind of like a little cheat code you could do, so to speak. So we get this bow, and when we right-click this, you can see that the items we have on our bench get automatically highlighted so that we know what we can build and what we cannot build. So we could build this item called Nashor's Tooth. Was that recommended on Kog'Maw? It was. It's the bottom right item, so we could go ahead and build that. So we could right-click this, click create item, and it creates it on our bench. So you could either drag onto a unit or you can do it from the bench there. Pretty useful stuff. I also talked about how we wanted to get 3 copies of a champion to upgrade them. We could actually do that right now. We have this little consumable here called Tiny Champion Duplicator. You could use it on a 1-cost unit to create a 1-star copy of them, which is pretty nice, but we could also get additional copies of units by re-rolling our shop. So you may have noticed after every round, our shop refreshes and we get a new selection of units. You could kind of think of it as like getting a new draw in, let's say, poker or something like that, or a new hand in poker. And when you click reroll, you get another new hand. So what's really cool is that we could click that button and we see Kog'Maw over here. Right now, it's free rerolls. You could notice that by seeing that it costs 0 gold on the bottom left and it has a shiny icon. But if we like roll through all of these, and by the way, look at this, all the units that we want are like highlighted, nice and easy. After that, you have to pay for them. So if we re-roll past that, you'll notice that we now have to pay 2 gold to re-roll for units, which is pretty costly. You typically don't want to re-roll too much in the early game, but we'll kind of explain more as we get into a real game. But that's kind of like the basics so far. Build some tanks, build some damage dealers, and pretty much have a go with it. Try to fit in as many synergies as possible. But I'm not going to waste too much time in this little practice mode, so let's get right on into the game because I think you all have the basics after this. After that, everything else can be explained in the main game mode. To get into the main game mode, all you have to do is click the little back arrow, and then you could see all the other game modes and then click normal mode. So there you press confirm, and then you could start queuing up by clicking find match. If you're a cosmetic person, and I'm betting a lot of you are, you could change your cosmetics by clicking that little button there and scrolling through what you have. You'll unlock more as you get through the game, or you could always, pay money. What I love about TFT is that you do not gain advantages if you pay money. So that's one really cool thing about that. Because I've been a free-to-play player for like 99% of games my entire life, and I don't know, I just like when you don't have to pay to play a game. TFT is one of the few truly free games. Right as you start, everything's unlocked. Speaking of the start, we have this little entry there that's a portal. Every game's a little bit different. So this game we get 2 item anvils or component anvils at the bottom there. So we'll talk about more of those in a little bit. Right as the round starts, you get right into the action, you start fighting. But here we have Rumble, who's a defender, and Yordle. You can see a bunch of his little traits there. But there are all sorts of different portals that kind of come into the game. Sometimes it's more items, sometimes it's more gold, sometimes it's like different champions. Wacky stuff can always happen. But at the top, you can see that we're going to be facing a few combat rounds against minions. This always happens in the entirety of stage 1 because that's just how the game is set up. But you can see down here we have a bunch of units we could buy in our shop. We have this pair of Yasuos. Maybe we could get a 2-star Yasuo. Maybe we could go in a completely different direction. But yeah, every new round our shop refreshes. We have the unlockables here that we talked about before. But of course, like you can always go to the team planner, put in, let's put in a random champion. Let's do Silas. He's a really fun champion to play around. Crazy unlock condition. You essentially have to get a bunch of units and then sell them. But he'll show up in that little thing down there. So pick up more units. We see this Sejuani here. I'm just going to pick up random stuff in the shop. And yeah, this Sejuani, 2 Ashes. Okay, so we could play around Ashe and Sejuani. They're both like Freljord units, which are like the frozen icy theme of the set. And maybe we could just go for a Freljord comp. They're pretty cool, right? One thing that I did not mention before is that you may have noticed that we gained levels. We were level 1, level 2, and now level 3. And we didn't really do anything to get that. So essentially you gain 2 passive experience every single round. So after this round ends, you should notice that will be 2 out of 6 XP instead of 0 out of 6. But let's go ahead and get this second Ashe here. We could get the 2 Scions as well. Let's sell some stuff to get it. To sell a unit, you just drag them down into the shop, or you could press E when you hover over them. But now we get this little thing called Augments. So Augments are little power-ups in TFT where you get permanent value. They are super important, but we don't have to pay too much attention to them right now. We're going to pick Augmented Power. It essentially delays our augment to the next one and makes the next one stronger. So we literally don't have to worry about it right now, but when you play for real, they do matter, but I have other guides for that. So let's look at Freljord right now. Summon a tower. Allies in front of it gain health. Allies behind it gain damage amp. Freljordians gain 150% more. So we have the 3 bonus. And we can unlock this Volibear. We can unlock this Tryndamere, and let's add them to our team planner. Let's play Freljord. It's going to be a good time, So Volibear in the team planner. What else? Tryndamere, and then You could add all the other Freljords as well if you want. Let's pop these item components also. Essentially what these are that they give you 4 different components to choose from, and you could pick any of them. So I'm just going to click Rod here. Like, obviously, if you memorize item recipes, that's really helpful. I actually have a really useful website for that. It's called bunnymuffins.lol. And through there, I have a lot of different builds, pretty much all the popular ones, all the really good ones if you want to like sweat the game a little bit. And they all have recommended items for each of the champions and each of the team comps. You don't have to use it right now, but something to think about in the future. It is a self-plug, but I do spend a lot of time in this game, so I do have everything at least optimized as much as I possibly can, you know? But you can always hover over the unit roll, and that gives recommended items as we talked about before. So something I did not talk about is items. So let's sell these 2 scions, get to 10 gold. You always want to get thresholds of 10 gold in order to get interest. So you get 5 gold every turn passive income, 1 interest up to 5, and win streak and gold per win. We'll take a look at the win streaks right now. If you get 2 to 4 win streak, you get 1 gold, 5 is 2 gold, 6 plus is 3 gold. This works for both win and lose streaks. What can you spend your gold on? Well, it's going to be the units that we talked about before, but you could also reroll or buy XP. So buying XP, it costs 4 gold, and it gives XP towards your next level, and you get 2 free every turn as we talked about before. So if you hit that button, we would level up, and when you level up, you could add in extra units, which is really, really, really nice. And when you have more units, you get more powerful. You also unlocked more powerful champions. So remember before we saw like Belveth wasn't able to be bought before or bought yet because she's a 4 cost? Well, when you level up, her odds increase a little bit. So I'm going to buy the Sona, add an Invoker to the team. You can see on the left-hand side, we have Invoker. Oh, sorry, we have the 3 Freljords, and then we could add Invokers. They have their own unlockables, Defender, Jarvan, Rumble, Nico, Vi, Darius, etc. Their own unlockables too. We also have Quick Striker from Ashe, Viego, Twisted Fate, Draven, bunch of other ones. And then lastly, we have Demacia, which is a Sona that we added in. So we don't really care too much for that. But if you want to go deep into Demacia, it is a fun trait as well. You get to summon this giant Galio, which is really fun. But back to gold. So passive income, no, I'm not selling you a course or anything like that. But you get 5 every turn, and that's really, really nice. And with that, you also want to maximize your interest. So right now we have 20 gold, so we get 2 bonus gold from interest every single round. If we had 50, we get 5. Anything beyond that, you don't get any additional gold. So it's kind of like the tax on billionaires, right? You can't be a billionaire in TFT. I mean, if you can, like, let me know. No one really ever has over 50 gold in this game. But the goal of TFT is to use your gold efficiently. By the way, we are entering this thing called the Carousel stage. And here you want to focus on getting specific items for your team. So I know there are champions. You could pick a champion plus an item, but mainly people use this to pick items because items you can only get randomly from the neutral rounds or from this carousel, sometimes from augments too. But champions you could get all the time by refreshing your shop. So mainly go for items here. I'm going to go for the sword, get that for Tryndamere or Ashe. That should be pretty nice. I'm going to build an Infinity Edge. I have the items memorized, but like on the left-hand side, you could see our items. We have a chain and a glove. And if we drag this glove onto the Ashe and then the sword afterwards, we get to build Infinity Edge. As I talked about before, there are 2 ways to build items. You could do the right-click way or the drag way. I normally do the drag way. It's out of habit. The right-click way is a bit newer, but it is more efficient. When I watch World Champions play, they mainly do the right-click and build because it's just a little bit faster, and then they drag it onto their champion. But yeah, we have this little Freljord bonus. We can move this thing wherever we want. As long as we have our damage units in the back because they gain damage amp and the tanks in the front, I don't really care that much. There are ways to min-max this bonus, but essentially just put your units around the thing that buffs your units, you know? That's kind of the name of the game. In any game in general, if there's some requirement, you want to meet the requirement because that's where you get most of the bonuses, right? So try to do that as much as possible in TFT. And yeah, it's the same as any other game. If you play like board games, other video games, even if we dare talk about League of Legends, like for example, if you have like Xayah and Rakan, like they work better together, right? Like that's kind of what you want to do here. But oh look, we unlocked a champion, Tryndamere, because we reached this unlock condition, which is 2 items on Ashe. And when you unlock a champion, they show up in your next shop on the right hand side right away. So it's a really nice bonus to this game with the unlock mechanic. We could just play Tryndamere right away. He's a Freljord. We'll replace a Nivea with it. And Ashe and Tryndamere, they have a little bonus. So when one kills the other, they gain bonuses. If either of them get a kill, they get stacks. And that causes them to get stronger, which is really, really nice. You could see in the little champion descriptions there. But yeah, like during the fights, you don't have to do anything. It is an auto battler, so that is pretty nice. But you always want to be thinking about your next move, you know? So if you haven't noticed yet, there are different rounds to the game. If we look at the top here, we could see we have the PvP rounds, and we also have the neutral rounds and the carousel and the augment picking rounds all up there if you want to refer to what's happening in the stage. There's like stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7's the last one. Most of them are the same, but stage 1 is a little bit different. And stage 2, you get the augment in the first round. In stage 3 and 4, where you also get augments, they happen in stage 3-2 and 4-2, so a little bit different there. But there are many different ways to play the game, but it's nice to plan around everything. This game, we're going to do what's called a reroll build, so we're going to focus only on Ashe and Tryndamere. So those are going to be 2-cost units. You could win the game with 2-cost units, you could win the game with 1-cost units, you could win the game with 4 and 5-cost units. There are many different ways to the same outcome. But I'm going to play around Ashe, so we're going to need some quick strikers. We got this little twist of fate here. Viego's in shop, though that's pretty nice too. Quick strikers, they just attack faster. Pretty nice bonus there. This is the neutral round, so we're going to get some nice little loot from here. We're going to get more items, more gold, hopefully. It is technically random. You sometimes get crazy bonuses too, but in this game, most of the time, we just get champions, gold, and items. So we got Teemo. Teemo's a long shot. Unfortunately, that doesn't really help us that much. Ashe is not a long shot, even though they both might seem a little similar. Those are long shots, though, but we're going to sell them. Let's get to 50 gold. That way we get maximum interest, very nice. And then we see another Tryndamere, Anivia. We don't really need Anivia though, but I'm going to go ahead and level up here. And I think I'm going to play a reroll comp. So reroll means you want to roll a lot at certain levels. In this case, we're going to do 2-cost reroll, so we want to focus on level 6. But let's build this Kraken's Fury first. It's a really nice auto-attacking item on Ashe. So whenever you build Rageblade, Kraken's Fury is a nice little combo for it. But yeah, I want to build around 2-cost units. And 2-cost units are going to be Ashe and Tryndamere, and then we could add a bunch of other ones to our team. So we don't have to go full-on Freljord as we talked about before. We could focus on just the 2-cost units, Ashe and Tryndamere. So different ways to play the game. You could go like level 8, level 9, and play a lot of units and strong units such as 4 and 5-cost units. But for me, in this game, I want to just try this Ashe Tryndamere combo. They are like kind of husband and wife, so they have their own built-in synergy, which is pretty fun. And yeah, we're going to roll with that for now. But different ways to play. Some people are going to be leveling up a ton and getting 4 and 5-cost units. Like when we were playing Void, we wanted Belveth, Rift Herald, and stuff like that. But this is going to be the Augment round. Trifecta, that's for 3 costs. Don't really want that. Ascension, we don't really want that either because the fights are going to be a little faster. Epic Rolldown, we are not reaching level 8. So let's just do Mess Hall. I don't think it's the best augment for this team comp, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be usable. The other ones were honestly like pretty bad. But yeah, I'm going to level up here to level 6 and then roll a little bit. We saw Lissandra. Ooh, that would be really good for a Freljord build, but I'm just doing a reroll comp. So we're going to get Twist of Fate. He's going to be, see, Belveth shows up in our shop now because we're higher level. But yeah, I kind of just want to play around the 2-cost units. So we have Vi and Twist of Fate 2-cost. Vi is good because Sejuani is a defender and Freljord. Vi is also a defender. Twist of Fate's a quick striker and also a 2-cost. But I'm going to use this Anivia for now. Play 5 Freljord. That's going to be pretty juicy. We get 2 little statues now. We can move them around if we want. You don't always have to play your endgame board in the beginning. So here we're playing the 5 Freljord, even though we're probably only going to be 3 Freljord. Let's build the team right now. Let's get rid of that. Add in Ashe. Where is she? Up there. We also want a quick striker, so that's going to be maybe Twist of Fate. He's also a 2-cost. We could go for everyone. Yunara, I heard, is also pretty good. Warwick, can we get Warwick? That's with Jinx and Vi, but we're not going to play Jinx. So yeah, we'll add in Yunara. Freljord units, they're going to be, yeah, probably just Ashe, Tryndamere, and Sedge. You can kind of just build your own team comp. You can do whatever you want. There are like optimal builds or whatever, but I want to play around a bunch of the 2-costs actually. Let's do, yeah, Twist of Fate for now. And we also need a Slayer, so I guess we could add in Yasuo. All right, that's 6 units, level 6 units. We could add more later. Sounds pretty solid to me. We'll just do a lot of rerolling, so we'll keep pressing the reroll button at level 6, but remain above 50 gold if we can, and then see how many we can get. That should be fun to do. So obviously other ways to play is to level up to level 8, play around 4 cost units. So if you're playing Freljord, you'd play around like Lysandra. If you want to play around level 9, you could play around Volibear. That'd be a pretty good upgrade there. But yeah, it's because we have a bunch of attack speed and attack damage items. I think we're going to play around the Tryndamere and the Ashe. If we had a lot of ability power items, so magic damage, we'd play around the Lysandra, no worries, right? And it'd actually be a pretty good game for this because we have a Lysandra already. Let me just take a look at the team one more time. But yeah, on this carousel, don't really need to do too much. We already have 2 good Ashe items. We want like a sword that could build Edge of Night or Sterix Gauge for our Tryndamere. But by the way, you could always click around and check out your opponents by clicking their portraits. You could also press spacebar and go to your own board if you want to like check out what you need there. But let's go Negatron. We could build an item called Even Shroud. So our team comp is going to do a lot of physical damage. And because of that, we want to build something that reduces armor. There are a bunch of effects like that called like shredding and sundering. Shredding is magic resistance. Sundering is going to be an effect that reduces armor. And the item from Belt and Negatron called Even Shroud is one way to get that. So I'm going to drop that on Vi. And yeah, let's get a Slayer in. We got the Ixtal Slayer in. That's Kiana. She's pretty solid. Don't need a Nivea anymore because we already dropped the Freljord for these other things. We're just going to go maybe 3 Freljord this game. It is what it is. I wanted to go deep Freljord, but these guys can still hang, you know, because we want to play around the Ashe and Tryndamere and really just focus in on them. TFT is a game where you need to concentrate power. You don't want to spread it out. There are other auto battlers where you're like, oh, I want like a lot of random stuff. But in TFT, you want to figure out which units you want to focus on and then add as many traits and items for them as possible. Notice how I have 3 items on Ashe and I don't have any items on my Tryndamere. That's because my Ashe is upgraded to 2-star. That means she gains a lot of bonus stats. So I want to focus on her before I focus on Tryndamere. So once I have 3 Ashe items, I could build 3 Tryndamere items, or maybe finish off the Vi first. Braum is a Freljord Warden. We could go like maybe Braum Zenjiao instead of Sejuani, but I'm feeling the Sejuani right now, so we might just stick with that. But we're above 50 gold, so I'm going to start rolling down a little bit. We got the Yasuo. Yasuo is better than Kiana. Well, technically Kiana's better since she's upgraded, but I mean, sometimes I just like simplifying. I just want to play the units in my team planner. Like I said before, you don't have to. That's why we were playing the Lysandra for a few turns before, but in this case, we're just doing this. And let's take a look at some of the skills. Vi, she just gives like a shield. Sejuani, she chills people. And yeah, you could right-click that thing, check out other people's augments. They have 2 silver ones. If you remembered, like our first augment improved our next augment, so we went from silver to gold. That's how we have a gold augment. So it's a bit of a delayed power spike, but we get it nonetheless. I think since we've got it, we've won every round, right? Yeah, we're on a 7-game win streak right now. So that's pretty good. We get a lot of bonus gold that way, and then we get to roll into the next neutral round, and ooh, nice, a Tryndamere. So getting pretty decent shops here. We could keep rolling. Yeah, let's see what we get. You could also run Nico instead of Vi. She's also a defender. And one more. Okay, so we're about to enter the most important stage. So we're in stage 3 right now, but we're at the end. Stage 4 is when like the game really starts. That's where health totals really matter a lot. That's where you smack people for a ton of life points every time you win. If you haven't noticed yet, every time you win combat, you deal damage to the opponent. And every time you lose combat, you get dealt damage. So you always want to use your health as a resource. Ooh, very nice. We get the Sterix Gauge there. Very important item for Tryndamere, or pretty much any attack damage melee carries. It's very good. And then Titan's Resolve is a nice little combo for that. So we could build the Void Staff. That's more of a magic item. But yeah, we're just going to do the Sterix plus the Titans. This is a classic combo. So Rageblade Kraken, classic combo. Yeah, let's, oh my god, look at this shop. All right, we're going to buy all of that. And then Sterix Titans, another classic combo. Okay, huge shops this round, huge shops. So yeah, we could sell the Nico. But yeah, stage 4 is when you take serious damage. 4-2 augment is pretty important. But let's reorganize our bench a little. I like just getting the champions in line, right? So you know how much you have. But we have an augment stage coming up, and then 4 PvP rounds. Then the last neutral round of like the basic neutral rounds. We'll get like a dragon afterwards, so that's kind of cool. But one thing I did not mention before with Rerolling is that notice how our Ashe is, well, I guess let's do the augment first. So not hold the line, that You want units in the front and back, but we have this Freljord thing messing us up. Growth Mindset, we don't want XP. I don't really want Belt Overflow. We need like Tryndamere items. Could be Coronation. That gives us an extra unit. Probably Celestial Blessing isn't bad. It gives some healing to Tryndamere. Healing's always nice, right? So this one's tough. This one's tough. It could be Coronation or Celestial Blessing. Okay, I guess we go Celestial Blessing then. I'll be honest, these are pretty mediocre augments, but let's do the roll down. Tryndamere there. Nothing. Oh, Tryndamere. But yeah, I think I talked about rerolling before. You might have been like, what is this guy talking about? Well, our Ash is silver. Our Tryndamere is gold now. If you get 9 copies of a unit, you get 3-star Tryndamere. And that's really, really good. They get even more stats, and that's like the max level for most units. There actually is like a level beyond that. There's like a platinum or like 4-star unit, but typically those only happen to 1-cost units and in very rare circumstances. But they are very fun to play around. But yeah, this opponent also has a 3-star, but Tryndamere is pretty good, right? We got nice little Celestial Blessing. He just infinite sustains there, which is kind of cool. Normally you build like Bloodthirst on him or like Hand of Justice, something to give him lifesteal. Oh, by the way, someone has a lot of ashes. That's why we're not being able to 3-star our ash that easily. If you did not know, TFT, it is like a card game in disguise, but you want to play units that other people are not playing. So Tryndamere, no one's playing him because he has to be unlocked. Ash, someone else is playing him. I think someone else was also playing Twisted Fate, but Twisted Fate not that important to us. But because other people are going for Ash, it's more difficult for us to get additional copies of Ashes. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but there's a limited amount of Ashes in what's called the unit pool. So I believe for 1 cost, there's 30, 2 costs, I think 20, 25. 3 costs 18, 4 costs 10, and 5 costs 9. So for Ashes, it's like 24, 25, I forget which. But for Ash, she's a 2 cost, same for Tryndamere. There's only so many of them in the pool. So if someone else is taking them, it's harder to see additional Ashes. But since there are a lot of them, like 25 is pretty much a lot, getting 9 of them isn't too difficult. But for these items, I don't know what we want. We have this tier. We could go for a tank item. So either a Spirit Visage or a Protector's Vow. You could go Hand of Justice, as we talked about before, on Tryndamere, but since we have Celestial Blessing, we don't really need it. So let's just go for Belt or Chain. I don't really think it matters. But yeah, Protector's Vow or Spirit Visage, both very solid tank items. You want Protector's Vow if you want to cast a lot on your tank unit, and then Spirit Visage is more of like a pure tank item. They both are like tank items, don't get me wrong, but Protector's Vow is better if you want to cast early or if you have shorter fights, and then Spirit Visage is better for longer fights and super tanks. But yeah, we're just going to keep rolling down to 50 every turn. We could actually go past 50 this turn because we're pretty close on Ash and a bunch of other units. You don't have to do it now. You could always do it later. There's times where you want to like all in for your units, where you roll past 50, but most of the time you're just rolling down to 50 every single turn, hoping to get 3-star whatever, because it's the most efficient way to spend your gold. So if you have the most amount of gold gained every turn, and if you're not in danger of dying, you could just wait till you hit 3-star everything by rolling down to 50 every turn. But if you're dying, like we're at 96 life right now, but if we were dying, if we were at like 15 life, we'd probably roll down to 0 because we need to do what's called an all-in. So you don't have to play like how I'm playing this game. I don't always play like this. I'm only doing this because I have a lot of health this game. But if you're close to 3-starring stuff, like we're pretty close to Ash 3, like, yeah, you could roll past 50, go down to like 30 gold and get her 3-star. Pretty good stuff. But we're getting to the point where we need to maybe find other units to put in. We might be able to play Volibear from Freljord, but I think Slayers would be good. Yone would be good. Yone gets unlocked by 3-star Yasuo, so we could go for that. Yunara is another Quick Striker that buffs up Ash. Quick Striker is different than other traits. Quick Striker's at 235. Oh wow, look at this. This guy's got a Radiant item. So Radiant items are like super items. They're like 2 items in 1 slot, and it's another great way to concentrate power on a unit. You get it from Augments. There are different ways to get it through like random chance, but mainly like 99% of the time it's just from Augments where you get radiant items. But we're about to go into stage 4-7. This is the final PvE round of like the basic type. Okay, Sejuani there, 2 Yasuos, very nice. After that, we face much stronger PvE rounds. You'll still be able to beat them most of the time, but this is the last time we get item components. The rest of the time, we're going to get full items. So after this round, we want to build every item we can and not save any component because we are never going to get additional components. So, well, that's a lie. There are some ways to get them, but for the most part, you don't want to be getting them. But, oh, look, we got a unit we wanted. Our bench is, like, oddly full right now. We can't pick much up. So we have to get upgrades in order to clear bench space because we want all these units that we have. Oh, no, there's a Yasuo. I guess we sell the Twisted Fate. We don't actually care about Twisted Fate, right? Like, yeah, every other unit's more important. All right, there's Vi. That's good. We could pick up more stuff now. Got 2 item anvils, so that gives us a lot of item... Oh, 3 of them, sorry. A lot of item options. Sterix is good. We could put that on Yasuo, maybe. We want a 3rd Vi and Tryndamere item, so... Yeah, Stone Plate, sure. We don't have many tanks. Stone Plate's good when you don't have too many tanks, because... it's a good like low tank item, like low number of tanks here. Okay, we kind of have to go Quicksilver. Quicksilver is a good item, but in this specific situation, not ideal because Quicksilver makes you immune to crowd control. For this last thing, we could go Belt, get a Morello Namicon. We can't really do too much with the Rod because we're mainly an attack damage comp, and that's a ability power item. But yeah, Quicksilver gives you immunity to crowd control. Let's just roll down. Let's get the Ash. But with the crowd control, you also get that immunity effect from... I skipped Yasuo, whatever. You also get that effect from Titan's Resolve, which is the 2nd item on Tryndamere. And because of that, it's not good to build both of them at the same time, but it's not the end of the world if you do. They're both still fine items. It's just not super duper optimal. But that's the thing about TFT. You don't need super duper optimal items. By the way, this Morello thing is cool. It gives like a burn and anti-heal effect. So if you hit someone with your ability, which Twisted Fate throws cards, you'll notice on Ari she has this little burn thing on her. That means she is healing less and also taking damage over time. So it's a nice little effect to have. It's called burn/wound. A lot of ways to get it. Morello Namicon is one way to do it. Sunfire Cape is another one. That's the item that builds from belt and chain. Some units have the effect. What else? I think like Annie has it. And you could also get it from some augments. But yeah, this is going to be our team. By the way, this other person's also going Yasuo. A little annoying, but you know, it is what it is. Other person going Ash. Like, yeah. Some of our units were what they call contested. So yeah, it happens. We could roll down though. We're so close to Yasuo and Twisted Fate and Sejuani. But we rolled down and got nothing. So... not ideal, but it could be much worse, right? We could be at 3 life, like this person we're facing, or we could be at 0 life, like some of the people who got knocked out already. This person's playing Kog'Maw. Interesting. I kind of like Kog'Maw this set. I haven't played him too much, but I do hope to get more reps in for that because this set did just come out. I was playing it on the public beta environment before, so that was kind of fun to do. But yeah, this Gargoyle Stoneplate, it's really good if you have not too many tanks because you get more armor and magic resist the more units that target your unit. And because Freljord, right now at least, I'm not running too many tanks and you kind of put someone up in the front because of the item thing, you get a bonus from that. By the way, we top 4. Top 4 is considered like a win. Not like a full-on win like getting a first, but top 4ing is good. So when you're like watching someone play and they're like, oh, I top 4, like it's usually a good thing. I don't know what item to get here. We need another Yasuo item. It could be the Giant Slayer or the Edge of Night. Edge of Night is pretty good on Yasuo though, so we'll just take that. Yeah, just try. We could also flip the items. We could perhaps move the Edge of Night onto Tryndamere, though I don't know if he needs it. So we're rolling down. God, okay, let's just... I don't like rolling past 30 if I'm not about to die, but at the same time, you could argue I should roll in order to knock people out so that they don't get too powerful, because some people could be going for crazy stuff, in which case that'd be very bad. But yeah, I'm going to move around a little bit, get more use out of my stone plate. Though I probably should move my items over onto my Sejuani. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But this person's also Twisted Fate. We're kind of griefing him because he probably wanted Twisted Fate 3-star, and I mean, we took a lot of Twisted Fates. I mean, we did sell him that one time, but yeah. I did not know this. Ash's arrow does not stun, it just chills people. But in League of Legends, she stuns if you play that. So a little bit off lore, but it's okay. Yeah, she also gets like stacks with Tryndamere, which is nice. So she's at 7 arrows right now. The more AD Tryndamere has, the more arrows she kind of spits out, which is pretty cool combo. So I'm guessing Tryndamere gets the attack damage item, she gets the attack speed. But okay, there's Sejuani, very nice stuff. Just missing Twisted Fate and Yasuo. We're facing off against the Jin guy. You can tell by that little sword icon next to his name on the right-hand side. That's who you're going to be facing next. Normally there are like 3 options if everyone's alive still, but towards the end of the game you know exactly who your matchup is, so you could kind of play around it if you really want to try. But look at this thing. It's called a magnetic remover. Use on a champion to unequip all items. I have 7 of them right now. You get a bunch every stage, like 1 every stage, and then you get a bunch at the start, I believe, as well. And it just allows you to move items over onto different units, which is pretty nice because if you put an item on someone, you can't remove it unless you sell the unit or if you use an item remover. So that could be very committing, but this makes it not as committing because you can undo stuff. So I could take items off of Vi and then put them on Sejuani. Sejuani is a bit tankier, so that's kind of why I want to do that. By the way, we natural leveled so much that we're about to hit level 7 without even buying XP, which is kind of crazy because, yeah, that just shows how long it's been since we've been rolling. I guess we could add in Yunara, pairs up with Yasuo, and then we're probably going to play Yone. So that could be a good combo to get Quick Striker and like more Slayers in. Let's see what items we get. We want to get an item, a third item for our Yasuo. Yeah, I think we could Rage Blade. Rage Blade's probably decent on Tryndamere, right? So even Shroud on her, Rage Blade on Tryndamere, Quicksilver, and then, yeah, Sterix, and then Titans on the Yasuo. That way we split up the CC immunity effect, which obviously is good to spread it. And can we get our guys? Okay, that's very nice. I don't think we actually need Twist of Fate. We only have 1 item on him, and it's kind of like a support item. But I mean, he's probably who we're itemizing next. We could go for him 3-star, but we could also just level up and play more units and ideally unlock more powerful units. Unlock not in the mechanic sense, but unlock as in like get access to more units. We have 0% odds for legendary units right now, and when we get to level 7, we'll get, I think it's like 2%, and then level 8, I forgot what percent it is there. Is it like 5% there? They changed it this set, so that's why I don't have it memorized, but yeah. Also, if you ever get bored, you could always watch other people's fights by clicking on their icons. We fought what's called like a ghost round this round. When there are an odd number of players left, you face a ghost, which is like a clone of someone's team, but a little weaker because you can't damage them if you beat them. There's Yone. All right, we want to get to the next level, get Bel'Veth in for 4 Slayer, possibly run Yunara instead of this Twist of Fate. That way we could get to like more Ionias if we need it. Yeah, not that the Ionia bonus is going to... Yeah, Piltover could be good too. Piltover, sometimes 2 Piltover, you get a good upgrade. You get like a random upgrade for your team. Sometimes it gives good utility. But we're facing off against a Twist of Fate guy. Unfortunately for him, he did not get Twist of Fate 3. It's probably because he leveled up too aggressively. He's level 9. It's hard to get 2-cost units at level 9. So, but our Tryndamere and Yasuo are kind of cooking. I haven't really been paying too much attention to the fights, but yeah, you look at the damage chart on the right, Tryndamere, Yasuo, Ashe, all doing like huge work. Now we're in a 1v1 against... Okay, that was a pretty expensive level up, but whatever. We put the Bel'Veth in, we get 4 Slayer, and yeah, like crazy damage charts. You could cycle through, like it shows everything. Healing, shielding. There's Yone. Okay, not much else to do there. The person hit Nautilus 3. They just don't have Twisted Fate 3, so they're kind of screwed, right? Like, I mean, if your primary carry is not 3-starred. If it's a 1, 2, or 3 cost unit, yeah, it's pretty screwed. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more videos for new intermediate and advanced players in the coming weeks. If you need something immediately, I highly recommend checking out my TFD fundamentals video. And also feel free to check out my website, bunnymuffins.lol, for the longest player run tier list. But that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.